So good evening, everybody. We're going to hop in right now to what we have for today. This is the third week of June, all right? And currently there's so many amazing things that are happening in the markets right about now. And we're going to be taking a look at some of the most interesting ones, all right? I'm going to start my video right about now. Okay. Let's see, what does that look like? All right. Okay, so this is the third week of the month of June, all right, and we're taking a look at what to expect in the markets for the coming weeks. All right, so we're going to start as usual with the currency indices. All right, so starting with the currency indices, let me quickly remove all drawings from this. Now, when we look at what DXY is showing us at the moment on the 1 hour time frame, I think it spans even as far as the 4 hours time frame, all right? We can easily conclude that this is a solid bearish market, all right, which means we can expect weakness from the dollar across board, at least until probably price reaches most likely here, all right. That would be the first point of interest. But the major point of interest that I have, or that I will be looking for, that I'll be looking at, would be somewhere around here. All right, that would be my major point of interest. All right. So let me enlarge this and do this instead. All right, so my personal expectation is that the dollar drops at least as far as this, all right? So all through the week, the expectation is, my personal bias is that we see a weaker dollar, all right, that spans all through, all right, at least up to this particular point, all right? But it depends on how fast the market moves. If the market is not moving too fast, all right, then we might end up reacting from here and returning to the top. All right, but if the reaction is really quite fast, then we can expect price to come all the way down to this other block down here. All right. So for the dollar, it's a bearish bias, which means that using correlation analysis, we were looking to trade commodities like AUD-USD, for example. All right, you might be considering trading it in the bullish direction. All right, let's quickly take a look at, All right, so let's quickly take a look at what we have on the others. DXY, which is the pound index. All right, this is DXY, the pound index, and let me quickly remove drawings here too. I'd like to start from the weekly time frame because something interesting happened on the weekly time frame. All right, so I believe that those who attended the webinar that I had on Saturday, all right, wasn't a public webinar, or it wasn't so much a a webinar like that. It was just a training for my students. All right, and I'm sure that everyone who attended that training basically can relate with what exactly happened here. All right, I'm sure that everybody that attended that webinar should be able to relate with what we have here. All right, so based on that, all right, so based on that, it's important that we take a very critical look at this, all right, and then understand what exactly it is that the market is doing. So the expectation is that we see prices bounce back up on the pound, all right. bounce back up on the pound. Let's go back to the weekly time frame. All right. At least to that area. All right. So we should see some considerable movement on the pound. All right. We've also seen liquidity taken out here, the testing to the other block. We've seen this bounce. All right. So the first target will be somewhere around here. All right. The second target would be somewhere around here. All right. So we're talking about a bullish price action on pound, which means that if we're talking about bullish action on pound and we've seen that the dollar is most likely bearish, all right, that means that we can begin to postulate some bullish movement on commodities like GBPUSD. All right. So let's take a look at the card index, the CXY. All right. So on the weekly time frame, so far we've seen that price is currently retesting the other block that gave us this break of structure. All right. Price has retested it, has come back to this other block at the top here that gave us this break of structure. All right. So right about now, I think it's safe to assume, all right, it's safe to assume that we should see some continued bearish impulse, all right, on the card. Most likely up to somewhere like that, all right, somewhere around that area. And the reason is the fact that this other block has already been tested, all right. It has already been tested. Let me delete that. So this current retest, all right, is already creating a similitude of an equal low, all right, and we can expect that price breaks those lows, all right, comes lower into a more convenient spot, all right. So at least for a few days we might see the card being a bit bearish, all right, but maybe not as much as the dollar, all right, maybe not as much as the dollar. The next one we want to take a look at is the AXY, all right, which is the Australian dollar index. All right, and I remember this was an analysis that I dropped as far back as March. All right, and I talked about the fact that my expectation is that AUD drops, tests into this zone, bounces back up, and then comes all the way down here, all right, to continue what we have structure doing at the moment. All right, and as we can see, it looks like price is ready to play out in that direction to the very end. All right. So right now we've created equal lows here. It's expected that price will take out that liquidity, all right, and maybe come into this other block before we can see some solid reaction. All right. So on AXY, on the Australian index, I think we might see some bearish impulse. All right. Because as far as I can see, we didn't break structure higher here. All right. So structure is still intact as a bearish overall. All right. Now we can check JPY basket. All right, so this is JPY basket on the daily time frame. I remember that last week Sunday when we had this session, I talked about the fact that we're going to expect some strength on the JPY. All right, once it comes into somewhere around this zone. Okay, so we can see that JPY tested into that that demand zone perfectly. All right, came perfectly into that zone. Okay, and at the moment we're having some bullish impulse. All right, let's go to the lower time frames and confirm that. All right, so currently we've seen structure get broken to the upper to the upside. All right, and a bullish break of structure. All right, so for JPY, I think this could be a zone to look out for. All right, price retest into that zone, and then we resume the bullish movement. All right. and we might likely see price this way. All right. So that's my bias on JPY, which means we're talking about some bullish trend or bullish impulse on the Japanese yen. All right. So having said that, all right. Having said that, let's see. All right. Having said that, let's take a look at some currency pairs and see what we're going to be expecting this week on the overall. All right, GBPUSD has been an interesting study. All right, during the course of the previous week, I had some really interesting entries on GBPUSD. This was a 1:57.8 entry. All right, unfortunately, I was unable to take this trade because now actually this trade was taken, all right, but not directly on my account. All right, I only took this on a challenge account. All right, but definitely it still worked out quite perfectly. This was a 1:39 risk to reward. All right, but this other one, the 1 ratio, what's that now? The 1 ratio, what's that risk to reward? 57.8. All right, that one did not exactly tap me in. All right, I wasn't able to get that really sniper entry that I needed on that one. Okay, so but on the brighter side, all right, I have the pending order waiting for GBPUSD somewhere around here, all right, and the plan is I expect GBPUSD to maybe do something like this or like this, and then testing to this other block, all right, maybe somewhere around here, all right, and then bounce back up. All right, for me, that's about 1 to 10. All right, so, but definitely as the week commences, all right, and then I'm able to study and observe what exactly it is that the market is looking to do, all right, or seeking to do, all right, it becomes easier to make that decision and follow the ride however it chooses to go. All right. Please, you can drop your analysis request in the chat, all right, so that I can quickly address that as we commence, all right, or as we proceed. Okay, so right here, this is EURUSD. I had some amazing setups on EURUSD too. This was a 1:17. This was another 1:13. This was a 1 ratio. What's that one now? Okay, it's locked. I think this was it. All right, that was a 1:10. All right, but currently I still have expectations that price would definitely eat this take profit. All right, eat this take profit, and then we can start to talk about a possible rejection from this zone. All right, from that zone, but definitely my expectation is that this take profit gets eat. All right. Because remember, our bias on USD is very, very bearish. All right, extremely bearish. All right, because we just completed the break of structure and the retest. All right, and we're currently at the supply zone for that break of structure. All right, so right about now, this is USD Jpy. All right, I was hasty on, I think that was on Thursday or Friday. Yeah, I think that was on Thursday or Friday. I took a trade from this other block right here. All right, and as you can see, price actually played out perfectly on that trade. All right, but unfortunately, I was unable to close that trade because my take profit was somewhere here. All right, I was expecting price to take out this equal lows and maybe come down here. All right, so price didn't eat my take profit and then reversed all the way back to the top. All right, so I had to go back to the 4 hours time frame and then check what the overall picture was looking like. All right, and then I discovered that with broken structure here, all right, we had equal lows here, This is our latest order block. Price didn't break above this previous high. All right. So my expectation on USD JPY is that at least based on what we looked at last week too. All right. My expectation is that how many of you remember that I gave this sell setup from last week's session? All right. The first sell I gave that I caught that was 10.7. All right. And then I gave this second one. I was unable to take it because I wasn't unavailable. All right. But if you look at it, you see that so far we have created so many amazing, mind-blowing opportunities on USD JPY. All right. And I think that there's still so much more that we can capitalize on this week. All right. I'm not seeing any analysis requests in the chat box yet. All right. I want to believe that that's because we're still thinking of what commodities we want to take a look at for the week. All right. Another commodity I want us to look at is XAUUSD. All right. Let's take a look at gold. All right. I remember I gave this this bias on gold. When was that? I can't remember now, but I know it was last week. All right. And that was a 1 to 10. Okay. Oh no, I didn't give the setup. I think this was part of the practicals we did during our training session on Saturday. All right, during our training webinar on Saturday. So basically, this is XAUUSD, which is gold. All right, we can see that there's a sort of a break of structure here. All right, I know that here it looks like we've broken structure to the downside too. All right, we've had a bearish break of structure here. All right, but nonetheless, we've tested into this other block. Price has bounced. All right, and remember, we're looking at an overall weakness in the dollar. All right, so we could be talking about the possibility of an entry for a buy, perhaps somewhere around here. All right, till price comes into this zone. All right, because if you look closely at this, you see that we've had strong movements, all right, that need to be recovered, all right, that need to be recovered. There's a strong imbalance, all right, and that would be the target. All right, Mr. Ajanya, please, synthetic indices is handled by the other section of my team. All right, maybe you should talk to the Peeps Templars. I think Perfect is here. All right, I think you're on their Telegram group, on their free Telegram group. All right, they are members of my team. They are my guys, and we basically trade together from time to time, at least maybe 3 times a week or thereabouts. All right, so you can trust their analysis. I can vouch for their analysis too. So they are the ones to talk to about synthetic indices. All right, for me, I diversify mostly Forex and crypto. All right, but even crypto, I don't do much of it. I just do more Forex and then teaching. All right, so if you want setups on synthetic indices, please reach out to Forex. Perfect Forex, all right, is right there. So I think I've addressed that question. All right, so your VIX 75 setup will be provided by Perfect Forex. It's not that I can't do it, all right, but I choose not to do it because why do it when I have capable hands on deck? All right, so please, you can reach out to them on their free Telegram group. They will definitely address your synthetic indices request. All right, so that's my point of interest. So I'm expecting gold to buy at least to somewhere around this level, all right, and then we can start to look at this gigantic QML pattern that will drive us, most likely all the way back. All right, that's if we're unable to break structure. All right, so but if we're able to break beyond this point of interest, then I can say that we're coming. Maybe, probably it's wishful thinking on my part, but we might be looking at price coming into this zone. All right, maybe somewhere around that zone. All right, probably somewhere around that zone. Okay, so that's from the daily point of view. All right, because we've had some bearish structure so far. All right, so which other commodity do we want to request? Please make your request, make your request, make your request. All right, GBP Jpy. All right, GBP Jpy. I think I shared this setup. I don't know if I shared it in the group for the new students or not. All right, but I had this setup. I stopped it. Price came into my zone perfectly, reacted, gave me 1 to 7. It gave me about 1 to 6 point something or 1 to 7. All right, but currently we're seeing price at this zone, which is majorly a zone that broke structure. All right, but I don't want to hurry anything. All right, I think there's still a much stronger zone somewhere around here. That would personally be that would be a preference. All right, a much better preference for me. All right, for me. All right, before I can trade this setup. All right, but nonetheless, I think currently we can see this equal highs up here. All right, there's possibility that price wants to come up here to take out all of this liquidity. All right, it's quite possible that price seeks out this liquidity to take it out. All right, but nonetheless, I think we've broken structure bullish here. All right, currently we've retested the OB. All right, and we're bouncing to the top. Okay, so somewhere within this zone, we might get to see a reaction. But if we don't get to see a reaction and price breaks above this area, then it's safe to conclude that GBP Jpy is a bullish market. All right, but for now, I think my bias is still very much bearish. All right, which means that I'm expecting a reaction from somewhere around this zone. All right, I'm expecting a reaction from somewhere around this zone here. All right, this zone at the top here, because that's what gave us this break of structure and this second break of structure. All right, this was a break of structure too, but I think we've had a reaction from this other block already. All right, so we might want to bounce down a little bit, tap up, and then before the main drop happens. All right, so perhaps something along this line, all right, would be nice. All right, but that's my overall bias is a bearish market. All right, it's a sell. Okay, so that's GBP JPY, AUD USD. All right, AUD USD is another interesting setup. I think this was a sell that I gave early in June. All right, the first one was a 1 to 7. The second one was about 1 to, let me see now. This second one was about 1 to 19. All right, and then this buy was a setup that I also took on Friday, I think. I can't recall, but I know it was last week. I had the setup waiting on last week. I can't tell if it was Tuesday or Wednesday, all right, but I know it was last week. I talked about it in the group with some of the new students, all right, on Friday, all right, and this was an amazing setup, all right, and basically refining this setup for those who attended the webinar yesterday, all right. You'll recall that I showed you how this could have worked as an amazing entry on the lower time frames, all right. I believe that I showed us that. However, my overall bias on AUD USD at the moment, considering the fact that we're talking about a weakness in the dollar, all right, considering that we're looking at a weakness in the dollar, I think we can expect some bullish momentum. Maybe not much, all right, but I think we can anticipate some bullish momentum. Let me go to the lower time frame and see how that works. Perhaps we might want to do this. And then break lower, all right? That's a possibility, which would which can only be confirmed when I see the price action, all right? But I'm just going to mark out my point of interest, all right? My points of interest so that for anyone who is interested in this, all right, you can also monitor the points of interest on your end, all right? And then observe what that births. All right, so let's see how that turns out. Okay, let's see how that turns out. But if price breaks that point of interest, then might be looking at that zone on the daily time frame, all right, for as our target, okay. But nonetheless, I think it's important, it's really important to let us know that doing your own analysis, all right, like the crypto bros will tell you, all right, do your own research, all right. I strongly believe in doing your own analysis, all right, entering trades based on your own criteria, based on your own preferential confirmations, all right. Can we take one last request, all right, one last request. Who else has an analysis that they would like to request I take a look at? What other commodity do you want me to take a look at, please? The last one. Okay. All right. This is Euro JPY. All right, we're looking at the break of structure here. We've seen the break of structure. This was a 1 to 10 trade, all right. TP got it. All right, then we came into this other block somewhere around here. All right, we came into that other block, all right, and then price bounced higher. All right, we've taken out, these are equal highs at the moment, all right. So my ears are ringing. Okay, so we might see price do something like this, all right, test into that other block, all right, or that POI, and then drop. All right, since the overall structure is still quite bearish, at least until we come into this zone right here. All right, is that clear, please? Is that clear, everybody? All right, US 30, the last request for tonight. All right, this is US 30, and as you can see, I have a pending order on US 30. I have an expectation on US 30. All right, it's not much, all right, but I think the structure is still bearish. I'm looking at this gap here and expecting that price would most likely come back to take that gap, all right? Come back to fill up that imbalance, all right? We'll probably eat this other block. All right, we'll probably eat that other block, bounce back, and then maybe, all right, this is probably wishful thinking, all right, but we could be looking at price coming into this other block. All right, which is a point where we have another interesting QML pattern sitting pretty. All right. So this is our QML. So we could see price tap into that and then maybe dump much lower into perhaps this point. All right, but in my opinion, I think my chips would rather be somewhere around here. All right, remember this is daily time frame, so this could take weeks or even months to play out. All right, but I've learned that in this industry, patience is non-negotiable. Right, it's absolutely non-negotiable. So let's see how this plays out. The overall structure is still very, very bearish, very, very bearish. All right, but nonetheless, I think we can squeeze out a couple of scalps. All right, a few scalps if we're able to get such availability. All right, in the during the course of the week. All right, do I have anyone who would like to ask a question? Do we have any questions, please? If you have a question, please let me know in the chat box. All right, I'm guessing that nobody has questions they would like to ask. Okay, so I think that settles it for tonight. That's a wrap for this week's market review session. All right, I want to believe that we've all learned something, we've all gotten something. All right, and as usual, it's been an utmost pleasure, all right, hosting you on this call tonight. All right, so I want to wish you a very rewarding, a very peaceful trading week. All right, I wish you the very absolute best. All right, and I look forward to celebrating you more and more and more. All right, so till next week when we come your way again with another market review session. All right, very soon, it's very likely that some of these market review sessions will be handled by some of my other team members. All right, some of the new members on the team. All right, but nonetheless, I want you to know that I'm really, really excited about the prospects of what the market holds for us. All right, and I want to make a plea. All right, this was something I discussed with my students recently. All right, for about 4 years now, I have had a vision to to revamp the face of economy in Nigeria, which is my resident country. All right, so we have a target, all right, to reach 1 million Nigerians, all right, and empower them with the skill to make $1 a day. All right, 1 million Nigerians with the skill to make at least $1 a day, because the overall aim is to be able to bring in, reserve, all right, a revenue of about $360 something million every single year. All right, we have a system that works, we have a strategy that works. We just need your help to get the word out there. All right, we're targeting about 1 million Nigerians, and we hope that with your awareness, with your collaboration, with your efforts, we can be able to achieve that aim in the next 2 to 3 years. All right. So having said that, I want to say a big thank you once again. My name remains Adetola-Freeman, and I remain the lead instructor and host at EZFX Academy. All right. So when next I come your way, keep trading, keep practicing, keep making some massive money. See you when next I come your way. God bless you and have a lovely trading week. Bye-bye, everybody, and have a lovely night. Take care.